It's Tuesday, June 25. Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with your midday news. A special welcome if you're watching online at onespotmedia.com. A U.S. delegation is to arrive in the country shortly to discuss the detention of 5 Jamaicans in 2017. Speaking at a media briefing this morning, Foreign Affairs Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith said the government will be seeking an assurance from the U.S. government that protocols are being observed under the ship rider agreement between both countries.
While we cooperate with partner countries on the basis of our common adherence to international human rights laws, we are actively looking at what processes and what provisions can be inserted into the protocols, into our procedures to address the concerns that have been raised by this ACLU case.
Sections of Central Village in St. Catherine are now under a curfew. It follows a recent upsurge in violence, including murders and shootings. The curfew began yesterday evening and will continue until 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Sections of the community are tense after 3 persons were shot dead on the weekend, among them a man who was reportedly on his way to church on Sunday. The St. Catherine South Police say the killings are linked to an ongoing gang feud in the area. Residents have expressed fear as they travel in and out of the community for work and school on a daily basis. A family in Morant Bay, St. Thomas is mourning following the death of their 3-year-old child at the Princess Margaret Hospital. The hospital says Zente Betty died because of health complications, but the family believes it's because of negligence. We have more in this report.
Placards raised above the heads of Zante Betty's grieving parents as they spoke to our news team in front of the Princess Margaret Hospital on Friday morning. Written on the signs were cries for justice and accountability for negligence.
What I'm asking is the hospital make a flaw of negligence cause my son death, and I'm asking them to take full responsibility of them action.
Zante's parents want the hospital to be held accountable for the death of their child.
I'm calling on the Minister of Health to intervene in this matter because this is not the first child that have died at Princess Margaret Hospital.
Zante's parents had made multiple trips to the hospital after their child had fallen ill and was vomiting. On one of their visits, Zante's mother told TVJ News that medical professionals at the hospital said her son became infected after swallowing a rotten tooth.
Him have a spoiled teeth in his mouth, so he said that based on the spoiled teeth in his mouth, it's possible that the gum will bleed and him swallow and catch infection in his belly.
The family later discovered that the child was diagnosed with a condition known as coffee ground vomitus. Coffee ground vomitus refers to a particular appearance of vomit. It's a sign of possible upper gastrointestinal bleeding. The family inquired about the treatment options, but they claim the hospital's response was not conclusive. His parents and members of the community are demanding answers as they await the result of an autopsy on their son. The CEO for the Princess Margaret Hospital, Melissa Linton, said they are unable to comment as investigations are still underway. Prince Moore, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, the chief medical officer at the Princess Margaret Hospital also responded to our queries. Dr. Cecil Batchelor said various treatments were administered to the child and samples sent to Kingston for tests. He says the parents were also referred to the Bustamante Hospital for Children. Zante died on May 18. Dr. Batchelor noted that the police usually handle autopsies of this nature. However, up to last week, Thursday, the police still had not done a post-mortem. The Ministry of Education is defending the high school placement system used following the primary exit profile PEP examinations and results. The ministry says the placement is based on the performance of each student and the school choices made by their parents. It says if a student is placed in a school other than the 7 selected, it may be because all the selected schools are full. The ministry notes that the student would have been placed using the secondary placement list, otherwise called the proximity list, which identifies a school close to the primary school the student attended. The Education Ministry noted that more than 42,000 students across the island are vying for spaces in the same 35 traditional high schools that only have spaces for approximately 8,000 students. Now, once those spaces have been taken, students have to be placed in other schools. The Firearm Licensing Authority, FLA, has pushed back strongly against yesterday's pronouncement that an action has been filed for contempt of court against its board and CEO Shane Dalling over a decision to revoke the firearm license of a policeman. Mr. Dalling is asserting that the claim is more hot air than substance. The issue arose following attorney Hugh Wildman's claim that the action was taken after the FLA allegedly violated a court order to return the policeman's licensed firearm. The policeman sought leave for judicial review of the FLA's decision to seize his firearm. In granting this leave, Justice Courtney Day reportedly gave the FLA 45 days to return the policeman's weapon unless it had additional reasons to keep it. Now, Mr. Wildman's position is that the 45-day order expired and the FLA board is therefore in breach of a court order. However, Mr. Dalling asserts that this position is seriously flawed.
On the matter of the board of the Firearm Licensing Authority acting in contempt of a court ruling, absolute rubbish. The authority received an order of the court stating that it should make a decision within 45 days in the case of Sanko Somerville for return his firearm. The board made a decision within 2 days of that order of the court, revoking that license and serving the notice on Mr. Wildman and Mr. Sankoville. That matter, if any person has issue with it, the proper recourse is to the review panel. And so to take the matter to court, which we intend to challenge because the law is clear that any person aggrieved must go to the review board, not the court.
And we now take a break here on the Midday News, but stay with us. More stories after these messages. Welcome back, continuing the news. People's National Party presidential hopeful Peter Bunting is blaming the growing crime threat in St. Catherine South Police Division on the JLP administration. Mr. Bunting said a reduction in the resources available to the division has given criminals added freedom in the communities. He pointed to the increase in murders as well as the numerous attacks by a serial rapist in parts of Portmore as proof of the worsening crime problem in St. Catherine South Police Division. He addressed the matter while speaking in Westchester, St. Catherine, Sunday night.
8-10 police and soldier at every entrance to the state of emergency, every road, there every day, not catching one criminal, just pure PR and slowing up traffic. If those 100 persons per shift that are being used for PR purposes were deployed in Portmore, them catch that serial rapist long time. You wouldn't have had those 15 extra murders that you've had this year in St. Catherine South.
Complaints have again reached our news center about the pileup of garbage behind the Papine Market in St. Andrew. The waste often spills over onto the roadway, posing a threat to pedestrians and motorists. Citizens are concerned that the garbage may be a breeding ground for rodents and other vectors. That's even more concerning due to its proximity to the University Hospital of the West Indies. Persons are calling for the municipal corporation to find a solution to the matter. Butchers at the Waltham Abattoir in Manchester are expressing concern over comments made by Mayor of Mandeville, Donovan Mitchell, that the facility lost over $30 million in the last 5 years. Mayor Mitchell listed the losses as one of the reasons for the planned closure of the facility. But the contend that they have been paying the requisite fees to carry out their trade at the abattoir, with some paying thousands of dollars each day. It's why on Monday, the butchers took their demonstration to the entrance of the Manchester Municipal Corporation.
They're making money, they're making nearly $100,000 a day over the abattoir. So one Mr. Macken is going to intervene in it. We are begging to come to the Paris County to intervene in it. Can't work right. One man up here $30,000 of his slaughter animal. And nobody don't know where the money there. All of us say no money now make.
Also, the butchers say the timeline for the closure is too short.
15 days you want to give us to close it down. What we're going to do, what the people, how Mandeville going to get meat? How we going to get meat? Right? The management, I couldn't tell when I see a manager at the abattoir. They said they fix the boiler with tube as small as a hot plate for boil over 1,000 gallons of water. As 2 days we have to turn it on. You can imagine the light bill.
The abattoir has been ordered closed by the health department. The closure is to take effect on July 1. We go on to news in sports. Table topper Jamaica will look to book their place in the knockout round of the CONCACAF Gold Cup when they take on Curacao in Los Angeles on Tuesday at 7 p.m. The Reggae Boys are on 4 points after 2 games, following a 3-2 win over Honduras and a 0-0 result with El Salvador on Friday. Curacao, who were beaten 1-0 by El Salvador in their opening game, defeated Honduras 1-0 in their second game to be on 3 points. That's 1 point behind Reggae Boys and El Salvador. According to striker Junior Flemings, there is no time to be comfortable.
We just have to keep going. The work gotta, continue. We even have to work harder, double up our efforts, and go forward because Curacao is going to be another, tough battle. So we got to keep going. They are very technical, so they're going to want to keep the ball a lot, but we have to come out and ready for a hard battle.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the News, Sports and Production teams, good afternoon.